Hey, this is Lynn. It is Weigh-In Monday. It is May 27th, 2024. And this is officially 52 weeks of being on the carnivore diet. Now, my actual 1 year anniversary is in 2 days, May 27th. But this is technically 52 weeks. So there's a couple days difference there. But so I'm going to actually do another official weigh-in on Wednesday just so that I can get that actual 1 year number. But I'm going to give you my weigh-in results as of today because I did weigh in this morning. And it's been quite an incredible year. And so I'm going to post something on Wednesday. I'm not 100% sure it's a travel day for me because I'm heading down to Austin, Texas for the Hack Your Health conference, getting there a couple days early. Going to be there with the Healing Humanity crew. I'm sure if you've watched me enough, you know that's the case. So I'm pretty excited. But anyways, this has been an interesting week. I know last week I made a report on a reaction that I had. I was making the kind of heavy cream substitute. It was like an egg yolk latte with a recipe that had 1 egg yolk, a tablespoon of butter, and a tablespoon of beef tallow. And I had a very quick reaction, and it was a very kind of like almost out of body type neurological type of a reaction. And it has been a long time since I've had one of those. So I was just kind of curious as to, oh my gosh, like why did that happen? I wasn't thinking it was a histamine reaction because everything that I was using should have been okay as far as from a histamine standpoint. But I did get a comment that really kind of made me think. And this comment was from Barking Squirrel 7166. And that said, Lynn, have you used that beef tallow before? So the answer to that is yes, I have. Just thinking it's possible that it has more histamine than expected. After all, it is rendered fat. Love to know what you figured out. So I was thinking that beef tallow is probably not fresh. I have had it for a while and I should have been keeping it in the refrigerator, but it was in a cabinet. So I'm not remembering like why it ended up being put back into the cabinet, but I'm really thinking that this might be the issue, that it might have built up a ton of histamine because of the way it was stored. I feel pretty comfortable in that explanation. My screen froze. Usually it doesn't freeze this close to the beginning. But anyways, I think that the beef tallow probably had a lot more histamine in it than I realized. And that was probably why I had that reaction. So perhaps I would do okay with that egg yolk latte if I had fresh tallow or maybe left the tallow out and just use the butter. I don't know if I'm ready to go in yet and test that theory out. But I did, while I was still trying to figure out what was going on, I decided to just take salt out of my diet. Adam from Carnivore today suggested that I try that since it really helped him a lot. So I did about at least a 7-day trial, and I didn't completely eliminate salt, but I did stop using the Element electrolyte packets. I was using 2 of those per day, one in my coffee in the morning and one of them later in the day in water. And it's kind of hard to tell. I didn't notice a huge difference. Now, one thing that I'm pleased with is that I didn't really notice a huge adverse effect of holding the salt. It's hard when there's too many confounding factors going on. That's why these scientific trials for nutrition are just pretty unreliable, because there are so many confounding factors. I wasn't getting nearly as much sleep this week. The previous week, my sleep was really good. I was going to bed early, getting up early, pretty consistently. This week, not so much, staying up later a lot. And so that definitely has an impact on my fatigue levels. I was feeling more fatigued this week, so I'm assuming it's because my sleep was not the greatest. So really hard to tell for sure how holding that salt impacted me. Now, one thing I can say for sure is that it seemed to really impact the frequency of bowel movements. They were definitely decreased. I did not have a single bowel movement the whole time I was holding the extra sodium. Now, I was still using a little bit, maybe a decreased amount, but using a little bit on my steaks that I was having. But I definitely decreased it to just enough to give me the flavor that I needed. And I know that over time, your body adjusts to less salt and you start to taste the natural salt in food. Haven't gotten that far. But anyways, I decided the last couple of days to add back the morning element packet, which is the chocolate flavor that I've been adding to my coffee. And voila, had a bowel movement. So I don't know if I am going to be needing the salt or not. I definitely need to make sure I'm drinking enough water. And I was drinking quite a bit of water. So I'm another area to research. I did start reading Dr. Brownstein's book on iodine. And one thing he said, and I also listened to another video, an interview on 5 Minute Body. Rena interviewed him and about iodine. And one thing he did say is that for iodine absorption into the cells, you need sodium. Now, I'm going to have to read further in his book because he didn't really clarify whether it's systemically your sodium levels need to be up, like your serum sodium levels when you get it tested through a blood draw, or if you need to be taking dietary sodium when you consume the iodine. And I use the tablets, the iodoral tablets, which is basically a tablet form of the Lugol solution. So I have still some questions regarding that, and I'm assuming that I'm going to get those answers as I read on in the book on iodine. It is a very good, simple, easy to understand read. It's fast. The print is nice and large, which is good. So I'm going to report back on how things are going with me reading that book, but I'm expecting it to be a pretty fast read, and I really want to learn as much as I can about iodine. Now, I know that he also wrote a book about, I think it's called The Salt Fix. I may end up reading that one as well because I really want to know the answers to this, because there's a lot of back and forth about adding salt versus not adding salt. And I'm assuming that each individual has to kind of assess that for themselves. I don't believe there's any one size fits all. One thing he did say though in the interview that I watched is that the range that is the standard range, at least in the US, for serum sodium levels is 135 to 145 as the normal range. He believes that that is way too broad and that your serum sodium should be above 141. So that's really interesting. I don't think my serum sodium is that high. So anyways, I will report back more as I learn more, but I don't know if cutting the salt back that far really made that much of a difference. And I'm not saying I'm not going to try it again and give it another trial. I just think that I need to make sure the other aspects of my life are better controlled, such as my sleep. Another thing with this past week is my exercise has been virtually nothing because I have all these crochet projects that I've been working on that I've been wanting to finish. I've been working on that, which requires just sitting. And I've also been working on some write-ups for the Healing Humanity website. And so that again requires a lot of sitting. So I have been more sedentary this past week than I have been in previous weeks. So I want to make sure I've got those things taken care of, get my sleep in order, get my activity level a little bit better, and so that I'm feeling better. I got the blood circulating. I haven't been using my rebounder as much. So I want to get that figured out first before I really start testing out the sodium thing again. But anyways, that's kind of the update on that reaction that I had. And let's see, I have had trouble this week with my sinuses. I mean, I'm in the state of Washington. The weather has been pretty damp. We've had a lot of rain. It's also a season where we've got a lot of cottonwood, going through the air. And my sinuses have just not been the greatest this past week, which contributes to me just feeling blah. I'm assuming that's going to pass. I'm going to be curious to see how I do in Texas from a sinus standpoint. Now, the heat, I'm a little worried about because of my heat intolerance. This is really going to be a test of my mast cells to see how I do in the Texas heat. I may bring quercetin with me. Quercetin is a very good mast cell stabilizer, it's a natural supplement. And it is good for stabilizing mast cells in addition to the ketotifen, which I take every evening. I might just take some quercetin and see if that helps. But it's going to be interesting to see. I'll definitely be reporting to see how, with you and see how I'm doing in Texas. Fortunately, everywhere you go, they have air conditioning. Of course, there's AC in the car, there's AC in the house, there's AC, I'm sure there's going to be the AC in the conference center. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I had a great non-scale victory this week too. So in anticipation of going to Texas, I knew that I needed to get some shorts and maybe a couple more tops. So I went clothes shopping with my daughter. Now, my largest pant size of record was a 28. Yeah. Now, back then, it may have even been higher than that at some point. I just did not buy clothes when I was that big. Whatever I could fit on my body, that's what I wore. And I wore things until they were threadbare because I did not like the way clothes looked on me. I hated clothes shopping. And so the last time I went and bought clothes, I was very happy that I was a solid size 20. And the 20s were maybe a little snug on me at the time that I bought my, the jeans that I bought. And so I figured, well, I'm just going to buy the size 20 anyways because I'm losing weight. It's okay if they're a little snug right now. Well, this time I went and I bought, I think like 4 pairs of shorts and a couple pairs of capris. All of them size 18. So I've dropped down one more size. So that's really cool. And actually I bought 3 pairs of capris. I think I bought 3 pairs of capris and maybe three or four pairs of shorts. Anyways, I'm all stocked up. And then this top I bought, this is like a 14-16. So my bottom half is definitely not keeping up with my top half. I've got that pear shape. But anyways, that was a great non-scale victory. I'm pretty excited about that. Gone down one more size. Yay. And they fit comfortably. It wasn't like they were super tight. They actually fit comfortably. So I'm assuming that next time I go clothes shopping, it may be a size 16. That'd be great. I don't know. I may wear my 18s until they're falling off so that maybe I can skip down to a size 14 so I'm not buying clothes so often. But anyways, that's an awesome non-scale victory. Okay. All right. I think that's it. If you are in the Austin area, I will post the link. We have the fundraiser for Healing Humanity Sunday evening, 5 to 7. It is at a Brazilian steakhouse. I forget the name, but I'll post the information for you. There's going to be a lot of really great people there. I know Anthony Chafee, Dr. Chafee, Bella from Steak and Butter Gal is going to be there. There's going to be a whole bunch of people. There's a lineup. I'll put the picture of, at least from what I'm aware of, the current lineup of all the guests and people that are going to be there. And I got to sneak my headshot in there. I'm not that big of a deal, but anyways, I felt pretty kind of cool. And, because I'm part of the Healing Humanity crew, so that's really cool. Alrighty, so this week was so anticlimactic from a weight loss standpoint, which I'm kind of not surprised because of the fact that my sleep hasn't been that great. But, it's all right. It is what it is. I weighed in at exactly the same as I did last week, 246.4. And literally the only thing that changed was my fat-free body weight went up by 0.2. Muscle stayed the same. bone stayed the same. So that's telling me that that 0.2 was all fluid, which is interesting considering I've been going down on my sodium. Maybe it's the 2 days that I've actually added it back. I don't know, but it's not out of the ordinary for me though, from the sodium to be up and down. So anyways, yeah, 0.2 and my fat-free body weight went up. But that 0.2, if I had not had any fat loss whatsoever, my scale would have also gone up by 0.2. And it didn't. So that means I actually lost 0.2 of fat. It's not enough to alter the other metrics as far as the fat percentages. But I did lose 0.2 of fat. So it's not nothing. So that's okay. Total. So since the beginning, 52 weeks ago, I have lost a total of 93.2 pounds on the scale. I have gained 26.6 pounds of good tissue. 25 of that is muscle, 1.6 of that is bone, and as of this week, my fluid is flatlined. So the muscle and the bone together make up the 26.6 pounds of good tissue that I've gained. So my actual fat loss in 52 weeks is 119.8 pounds. I just can't get to that 120. I was hoping that this week it would be the 120. We'll see how things are when I weigh in Wednesday morning. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe I'm going to just go to bed earlier, make sure I'm getting really good sleep. Jump on the rebounder. We'll see if that makes any difference at all. Now, as far as what I've been eating this week, I've noticed I've been pretty hungry, and I did add more butter than I usually do. So I don't know if that impacted things or not. But I've been actually eating, well, maybe a couple of meals a day instead of just one meal and a snack. And I've made a couple of chuck roasts, which in the Instant Pot, which were delicious, really tender, and we had some lamb steaks. I do get these big old long beef sticks. They're not chomps, but they're from Costco. So I've been eating some of those, and just this week, I've been dipping them into a little bit of French's, just plain French's mustard. That seems to sit fine with me. I haven't had any issues with that. And it's a very little, maybe a tablespoon for a whole huge beef stick. Every once in a while I do that. I'm not like one of those that is like, I will refuse to let any plants into my life at all. I mean, obviously I drink coffee. So the mustard is pretty benign from as far as health-wise for me. I don't have any issues with the mustard, and I just don't do it very often. But this week, I did a little bit of mustard. So maybe the total over the week was maybe a couple tablespoons over the course of the week. So I have been also debating whether or not I want to do another trial off of coffee. I think it's the weather, but I've been having more joint pain and stiffness, and I'm pretty sure it's the weather. So I'm going to see how things go with my joint pain and stiffness and everything in Texas when it's warmer. But if it doesn't improve being in the warm climate, I may see if I can do another stint off of coffee and see if that makes a difference. This is the way it goes when you're trying to heal your body and your health, and getting better with a carnivore diet. It's a constantly reevaluating how you're doing. How are things working? What's working for me now? Like I said, there are so many confounding factors, and unless you are a robot and you can do the exact same thing day after day, week after week, who can do that? There's going to be so many different factors that go into it that we're our own guinea pigs, right? They say, what is it? N=1. We're our own experiment to see how we do. And each of us is different. So this is just my journey. My Mast Cell Activation Syndrome is so much better A year ago, I was disabled. I could not function. I was dependent on people to do everything for me. I'm going to get TMI. I couldn't wipe my own rear after going to the bathroom without an assistive device. I mean, that's where I was at. Getting clean was challenging. I couldn't tie my own shoes. I couldn't bend down and breathe. Often I couldn't catch a deep breath. My rosacea was horrible. I was having heart palpitations all the time. My pain, head to toe, terrible. Brain fog. Often I couldn't get my words out. Right? The list goes on and on and on. I limped everywhere I went, and I was in pain constantly. So when I look back over the past year, it's been so surreal to see the changes that have taken place. Am I where I need to be? No, I don't think I am. Have I figured it all out? No, I haven't figured it all out. But do I know that I'm on the right track? Absolutely. I have no doubt that this is a lifelong journey for me. The improvements I've seen thus far have been phenomenal. I can't wait to see what another year does and where I'm at in another year. And I don't know if Mast Cell Activation Syndrome can be officially cured. The jury's out on that one. But I know it can definitely be improved, for sure. And yeah, so we'll see what happens over the next year. But I'm going to check in again on Wednesday. I'm going to let you guys know what is the official 1 year weight loss. It's not going to be 100 pounds as far as scale weight goes. In 2 days, I'm not going to lose another 4.4 pounds. Not even going to try. Actually, it would need to be more than that because my initial weight was 339.6. So not even going to try. But anyways, wherever it is, I'm going to be happy because I'm so much better off than I was a year ago. Unbelievable. Alrighty, that's it for today. I hope everyone's having an absolutely wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.